The Auburn administration has to wake up. It's 2022. I think this is low-key becoming a legitimate hate festival. When you have ranked teams losing, the sky is not falling. But this is good for the game.
Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crane.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for joining us on this Thursday. Getting closer to Friday and Super Bowl weekend. A lot of stuff to cover, a lot of breaking news as well. But I do want to start, after you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, I do want to start with the Bryan Harsin situation that keeps evolving, and I'm about sick of talking about it. But right when you think it couldn't get any worse from a optic standpoint, from a perception standpoint, it continues to get worse. Yesterday, we found out, basically everybody in the college football world and sports world found out, that Auburn University and the connecting universities, Auburn University and Montgomery, the whole kit and caboodle, has a new policy saying that you basically have to comply with an investigation. I'm going to throw that up. We have an image of that. The new policy, you can read it. There's a couple different notes in here. You can look at the statement saying that basically if you're at Auburn University, you have to comply with an investigation. And if you keep reading down, you see that if you don't comply, the result of that lack of compliance can lead to a termination. My first question, how in the hell is this policy not already in there? Why are we just putting it in now? The date of the policy statement is February 8th, 2022. You can see it. The effective date, February 8th, 2022. Why was this policy already not in there? That blows my mind. You can see the sanctions graphic here. The violations, disciplinary action up to, and could possibly lead to a termination. So before this, I guess you didn't have to comply with a damn thing at Auburn. That's number one. Number two, I think we're really kind of diving too far into different theories on what's going on or what could be done. It's pretty cut and dry to me. Outside of the optics being horrible and this being really fought out in public opinion, like we're in Athens going to a gladiator contest. You do one of two things. Either you have cause and you fire him for cause, or you don't think he can do it, and you agree to pay him the amount of money that you would have paid him if he stayed here at Auburn the whole time. It's 18.3 whatever it is million dollars. If you don't have cause, which you can see now you really don't, you're having to invent cause, having to put policies in because he told you when he was in Mexico, I'm not coming back to comply or whatever, like I guess Zoom, we don't understand what Zoom is or anything like that. But he said no, so then you put a policy that you already should have had in there to try and get cause to fire him for cause. I did not go to Columbia Law. I did not go to Harvard Law. I am not a lawyer, but I do understand that. If you think that Bryan Harsin is stupid enough to take $12 million and leave 6.3 on the table when you can't fire him for cause, that's hope is not a plan. Hope is not a plan. I would have said the same thing. Okay, if you don't think I can do it, I know you don't have cause, you know you don't have cause, you're going to have to pay me the $18.3 million. So this back and forth has put Auburn in a horrible position. I don't care what side you're on. Do I think Bryan Harsin got enough time? No, I don't. Do I think he's perfect? No, nobody's perfect. Would it have worked out fantastically if none of this ever happened for the next 3 years? I don't know. I think it's still 50-50. But you turned what should have been a situation with an A and a B outcome. And people will say, oh, well, it's never that easy. Well, it looks a lot simpler than what people are making it. You either say, all right, you can't do it, we don't believe in you, which obviously the administration, the boosters, whoever's making the moves and pulling the strings like Geppetto behind the scenes feel you should have paid him out. Because you obviously don't have cause. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure this out, or Nancy Drew, or have to drive around in the mystery machine. But there's a bigger problem at play here. When I started the show, basically off the rip, the Gus Malzahn stuff was going down, and I believe they should have moved on from Gus Malzahn. I think it's been good for both parties up to this point. But at some point, Auburn and the higher-ups have to understand that perception is reality. You look at the fan base, the people that show up to the games, that buy the hot dogs, that buy the jerseys, that watched it on TV. These people, when you put this out in the public, a lot of them are going to take the underdog side. And Brian Harsin is the underdog against the big bad people with the money. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. In my opinion, if I had to choose a side, I would say you had to give them more time. But you're dragging this out. Auburn and optics in the football department, it's crazy. You look at basketball, optics are unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's like going to Busch Gardens. So nice. The aesthetics are nice. The way they handle it are nice. The way Bruce handles it is nice, even when they weren't winning. But the Auburn administration has to wake up. It's 2022. It's the age of social media. Everything gets out. You continue to put Auburn football in an untenable situation. And then you wonder why guys won't take the job. People in power sometimes, most of the time, believe that they can force feed you into a narrative regardless of how it plays out in the public eye. Grow up, Peter Pan. Count Chocula, you're losing this battle. And Auburn is losing the battle. While Georgia's showing stability, and Bama's showing stability, and A&M just signed one of the best classes. Brian Kelly is doing dances like he's Patrick Swayze in Dirty Dancing to get recruits at LSU. And you have your coach having to show up at the back door like he's Elvis Presley going to the Grand Ole Opry at the SEC head coaches meeting? The only word I can think is aloof or naive. You could have, if you wanted to get rid of him, you just had to pay him. That's it. You just had to pay him. If you didn't believe in him, you just had to pay him. But no, you've got to put Auburn in a negative light. And you're killing them. They're getting murdered in the public eye from everywhere, from Sports Illustrated to ESPN. And Brian Harsin is going to make good out of this better than anybody. Somebody in the communications department at Auburn that deals with these people with the money have to tell them, you can't just make moves in your ivory tower and think there are no consequences. You're setting a program that has shown the ability to compete at the highest level in football, in the toughest conference, in the toughest division, in the highest level of football outside of professional, in a horrible and untenable position. Make a decision, but don't try and lowball them if you don't have cause. It will not work out, and now it's going to stretch out even longer. But guess who wins in all of it? The lawyers. And I don't have a problem with lawyers. You want to go through all that school and get it handled, that's fine. Billable hours is the greatest thing of all time. The greatest thing of all time, and you're seeing it play out. But the optics of this are disgusting, and it makes you guys look really stupid. And I'm done. I'm sick of talking about it. So make a decision. Shit or get off the pot. What do you guys think?
If Auburn University is having to invent a reason to fire Brian Harsin, then he needs to be the head football coach in 2022.
But how do you come back from this?
Let him coach. Let him coach.
The negative recruiting?
Let him coach. Look, he needs to be the head coach if you're having to invent something, a reason to fire him, okay? He had a losing season in his first year, but had wins against LSU, Arkansas, Ole Miss, 6-2 start. Things fell apart, but he is coaching in the toughest division. If you don't want him, if you never wanted him, if you don't think he's going to be a success, then you know what? That should have been handled before you hired the guy. He's only had one season to coach at Auburn, which is not enough time, unless he lost every single game last year and there are off-the-field issues. Then, okay, get rid of the guy and move on. But if you're having to invent a reason to fire him, then it's not right. It's like I said last week. If he did something that's egregious enough for him to be fired, then he should be fired fired whether or not he went
he would've.
6 and
It'd be
7
done.
or he went 12 and 0.
It'd be done.
If it's egregious enough, he should have been fired if he went undefeated and won the national championship, or if he went 0 and 12. If he did something to be fired, then fire him regardless, okay? Because it's still an academic institution. It's not the NFL. You just paid Gus Malzahn $21 million. Now you're going to pay this guy $18 million after he went 6 and 7 in his first year. You're not even going to give him a second year. It's not a good look. And the only thing that looks worse than a head coach going 6 and 7 in his first year at Auburn, the only thing that looks worse for them is this. It does not look good.
No, and here's the thing, because I'm trying to just separate it because it all gets glued together. The decision that they wanted to get rid of Brian Harsin was not made a week ago. This was not made a week ago. The inquiries into Brian Harsin did not start.
Started before he got there.
Yeah, did not start 4 or 5 days ago. My thing is this. If you guys decide, because y'all do have the money.
Yep.
Y'all are the ones with the money. You're the banker. It's how the world works. It's how the world works. It's like the Iron Bank off Game of Thrones. Y'all got to keep their ass happy. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to make the decision to get rid of them, okay, the fact that you handled this so poorly makes me really question how in the hell you were smart enough to make all the money in the first place. Or else you just found it. You pulled a Fargo and found it on the side of the road.
They never found it in Fargo, actually.
Yeah. Well, so what I don't understand is if you know you don't have cause, you're doing an investigation, you know after a certain point. I'm not talking about going through the protocol of the investigation, but you know that you don't have cause. Because if you did, he'd be gone. He'd already be gone. But if you don't have cause and you want to get rid of him that bad, Blaine, I want to get rid of you that bad.
Yep.
I know if I fire you for cause and there's no cause, you're going to rip me up and down in the courtroom.
Yep.
It's going to be Tom Cruise and A Few Good Men. You can't provide the truth. But if you're going to say we don't have cause because we know we don't, and we don't like this guy, we don't think he can do it, we never thought he could do it, you've got to pay that man his money.
Yeah. No, I mean, God, fellas, it just doesn't make sense to me. Any way you look at this, because it's too far gone now. He's not coming back. There's no way he comes back because you're going to get murdered in recruiting. Tell me a coach that would want to go coach at the University at Auburn right now as a coordinator.
Auburn University, you're going to get drilled for that.
There's enough things going on at Auburn. I don't think they'll be worried about that, right? That's the last place I want to go coach because it's so toxic. It's so toxic. You have your head coach sneaking in the back door in Birmingham, Alabama right now in the SEC. Look around the SEC. Missouri, they're coming. Kentucky, they're coming. Tennessee, they're coming. Your basketball program's doing phenomenal. That's fine. That's something you maybe float on for a little bit. But y'all think if they keep Brian Harsin, next year's going to be better?
No.
If you're a recruit and you want to go to Auburn after all this, all the division on the players and social media, this, that, this, and that, it's toxic from the top to the bottom. And when people in power with the most money think that they know what to do, they're exactly right. They know exactly what to do. And then you come down and you see all the things behind the scenes that are just falling apart. Falling apart. And this is not you just fix it next year. This is going to take time now. Maybe 3 to 4 to 5 years to fix this program. Because the things that are happening right now in Auburn is embarrassing. Right now, every coach is pointing and laughing. Everybody in the world, in the nation, is pointing and laughing. And in my opinion, it's disgusting from the top to the bottom.
It is. And I want to end it with this. There's no way that Brian Harsin can, regardless if you want him to or not, there's no way he can come back. It's too far gone. There's absolutely no way. The negative recruiting that'll happen, 2023 class, you can throw that one out the window if Brian Harsin comes back. Because mamas and daddies are seeing this too. Everybody sees social media. You're going to get drug in the living room when you go in there. How are you going to convince somebody to give you their child when they can't even go about this after 1 year in the right way? Good, bad, or indifferent. But it's gone now. So unless you're going to bring in Winston Churchill or somebody that can come in and just group everybody together really quickly, which there's a very rare chance of happening because I know that the BOT at Auburn, the Board of Trustees, will never get the hell out of the way. I guess they're just never going to get the hell out of the way. And you can scream and you can go on social media and you can start petitions and doing rallies at tumors. But at the end of the day, the people with the money that, like I said earlier, they're making their moves in their ivory tower are going to do what they want because they think what they think is best because they pay the bills. It's the parent-child syndrome. And I know it's weird to compare those things, but just because you made a lot of money selling lumber or you have a shipyard doesn't give you the right to burn it all down in the public eye. Right now, the Board of Trustees is like Caesar looking at the Auburn fan base and going, E2, Brute? And you know what? They should, because it's a joke. But looking around the rest of college football, I do want to bring up something on not a lighter note, but a rivalry brewing that I see, and I know there's some other stuff going on y'all want to get to. And this is a quick pivot, like the back foot in a good baseball swing. Anyway, squash the bug. Y'all know what I mean. USC and Oklahoma. I think this is low-key becoming a legitimate hate festival on the field with what happened with Lincoln Riley going to USC and then getting Caleb Williams and some of these other guys that come with him. And then he said, I didn't poach players from Oklahoma. I took players from the transfer portal.
He's not lying.
He recruited them in the first place.
I get that, but dog, come on, man. We're not stupid. I know you're not going to go on there and say, you're right. You damn right I took them from Oklahoma.
He doesn't want them because they played at Oklahoma. He wants them for the same reason he wanted them in the first place when he was at Oklahoma, because they're great football players.
And I get that. But if you look at the schedule, USC does play, I think they play LSU in Vegas in 2023.
Okay.
They play some SEC schools. Now, because Oklahoma, look, they're going to be in the SEC. It's going to happen.
A matter of time.
But will Lincoln Riley have the guts, and that administration have the guts to schedule Brent Venables in Oklahoma? We got to have this go down, man.
Hey, come here.
Let's meet it. Look,
Week 1. I want it week 1.
Vegas.
we can have a black-eyed peas situation. Meet me halfway.
Meet me in the middle.
Let's play in Albuquerque. I don't care. But you look at the vitriol between the fan bases. I love it. I love when you see kind of new, and we've seen that. You've always seen it with the coaching carousel, right? I mean, we just saw Chris Beard in basketball go back to Texas Tech. They could barely get the bus in there. It looked like it was an old-fashioned, stoning in the middle of the city in Thebes. But with the transfer portal, it's added even more fire to it, because a lot of times when a coach goes from one place to another place, a lot of those players who sign up to play for that coach are going to go, and it just adds more fuel to the fire. So USC and Oklahoma, schedule it. Get it done. Give the people what they want. SmackDown, live.
Brent Venables is the type to say, you know what? Forget halfway. We're coming to the Coliseum.
No, look, I love
We're coming to the Coliseum.
Brent's not scared, I promise you that.
But they schedule games so far out in advance, that'd be like 10 years from now, 12 years from now.
Yeah, it's like they're going to play in 2069.
Caleb Williams will be there still, so that's good.
That's true.
All right, so we have some other news around college football?
Yeah, I was looking around, I got really excited about this. You look at the Miami Hurricanes.
Dude, right? I love what Mario's doing.
And the only thing they really had to do was open that checkbook, because, baby, Miami sells itself.
Well, they got that billionaire behind him.
Yeah.
How much that going to cost? Ain't nothing but a...
Yeah, building the new stadium. Look at what they've done. They went and got Josh Gaddis from Michigan.
Kevin Steele.
They got old Kevin Steele.
K-Steele.
As the DC.
Will he be at Auburn?
Don't keep me started.
I can't get Jake started.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I love it. I can't. My mind can't handle that.
Okay, I apologize.
I love it. But Miami's right now deciding. They've decided they want to be good again.
Ooh.
Right, and if you're the ACC, I'm looking at Miami's schedule right now. Probably the toughest one they got next year, and this is going to be a hell of a game. They got Texas A&M week 3.
Do they really? Where?
At Kyle Field.
Wow, they go to Kyle Field.
Why do I think Max Johnson's going to be the starter at Texas?
Oh, you wouldn't be wrong. Because you haven't seen the other guy throw a snap in a football game. And get a snap and throw a pass in a football game.
It's true. Look, Max, I believe.
Max a witch.
Hey,
Max is a witch.
His dad's a fan of the show.
He is. We love Brad.
Super Bowl
Trick
champ.
shot Brad.
Super Bowl champ.
TBB.
Yep. Speaking of Gaddis leaving, he left Michigan. So Michigan now has filled their coordinator roles on both sides of the ball. Jesse Minter, DC. You like this hire.
Man, look, people will look at it and they'll be like, you hired a guy from Vandy?
Yep. But then what?
Not realizing how good of a job he did at Vandy.
Yeah.
And if you can do that with the players at Vanderbilt who got a better chance of beating you on The Price is Right or Jeopardy than they do of having a top 25 defense, if you look at what he did, I'm telling you guys, Michigan fans, you're going to love this guy. You're going to love it. And I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the NFL within the next 3 to 4 years.
Well, one of the things is he's a great recruiter and likes recruiting a lot, which is why McDonald went back
Yeah.
You know, and went back to the NFL and left Michigan as the DC. So this guy was also at Georgia State, recruits Georgia. That's going to be huge for Michigan. His dad was did a 10-year tenure at Cincinnati as the head coach, was also a DC at Notre Dame. Could be exciting. Then on the offensive side of the ball, Matt Weiss and Sharon Moore are going to be co-OCs. I've never been big on co-OCs, but even when I was there, there was a pass. Scott Leffler was a passing game coordinator, called the passing plays, and it can work. And technically, it was last year, but let's see.
And here's where I'm at. I always go back to, if you've ever been on the headset on the sideline, you do realize you have your primary play caller, right? But there's always a lot of discussion. You'll hear, "Hey, what do you like here? This is when, what formation do you like? What are you guys feeling? What are y'all seeing?" So it can work. It's just, I think a lot of it is more of the personality of the guy, the guys that are being the co-OCs, as opposed to, who's going to be the primary guy that calls, that when we got to have it on 3rd and 3, who's the one you're going to look to and the one that's going to be held accountable to call the plays? Because you have some guys that if they're co-OCs and the play call doesn't work, or it was a bad play call, at the end of the game, they're like, "Well, I didn't call it. Yep. That's not me. I don't want to have that put on me." And then you have other guys that are like, "Listen, we're in this together. Whatever." So it can work. You just got to have the right type of guys doing it.
If you're going to do it on offense, it's best to do it when your head coach is offensive-minded, which Jim Harbaugh is.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep.
Yeah, as a player, as a former player, I just always like one voice.
I know. I get it.
At the end of the day, you come back to that one voice making the call.
I get it.
At the end of the day, So I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Yeah. Well, let's switch to college basketball.
Good. College basketball. Yeah, we had 6 ranked teams in competition last night. 4 lost, Jake.
And I always, because we talk about winning the water cooler, right? College basketball fans that are also huge college football fans, sometimes I think about the games in the same light.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, in college football, you don't play a ton of games. You're guaranteed 12. Right? You're guaranteed 12. And every loss is huge. It can be crippling.
Yeah.
Especially if you lose late. In college basketball, it's such a longer regular season. Then you get into conference schedules, you play so many games, that I think sometimes it gets lost in translation that teams lose in college basketball. When's the last time somebody went undefeated in college basketball? Wasn't it Indiana?
Yeah.
Bob Knight?
Yep.
It really doesn't happen. So, I can use Auburn as an example, losing to Arkansas. I can use Duke as an example, losing to Virginia. Gonzaga plays St. Mary's on Saturday, but they're probably not going to lose another game, but they have lost. So when we look at a ranked team losing, like Ohio State going to Rutgers, which Rutgers, sneaky, big 3-game stretch after this, Rutgers is lethal at home. I watched them beat Purdue on the last second shot. I watched them roll up Michigan State and smoke them there in Piscataway. And then you watch them beat a good Ohio State team. I love E.J. Liddell and what he can do at home there yesterday. So when you have ranked teams losing, the sky is not falling. Now, if you start putting together multiple losses and you're seeing, you've lost 4 out of 6 or you've lost 2 in a row when you're really not playing well, then there can be cause for concern. But there's a lot more overreaction, I think, when you have that mixture of college basketball and college football fans when you lose in college basketball. Because you're really never, look, if you make the tournament, you're in it. You got a shot.
Yep.
I don't care if you're a 16 seed, because we've seen a 16 beat a 1.
Yeah.
That dragon's been slayed. So even though you do have ranked teams losing, this time of year you got people with injuries and stuff like that. It's not time to panic unless it becomes habitual. But I really want to make sure we're not crossing that too much. But what I will say is, after watching games last night, one team that I thought, they're not a ranked team, they lost to a ranked team. Mississippi State losing that game to Tennessee at home, they're running out of chances. You were on the first 4 out 2 days ago when Joe Lunardi put the bracketology out. And I trust Joey Brackets over just about anybody. That was one when you have Molinar, and you have Tolu Smith, and you have Garrison Brooks, and you have Shaquille, and you've got DJ Jeffries. Tennessee's a good team. They're not an elite team, and they're missing one of their leading rebounders for the rest of the season. Mississippi State got out-physicaled in that game. And it's weird because Mississippi State is a physical team.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to be. They're a downhill team. Molinar can shoot it. Shaquille can shoot it a little bit. They don't have a ton of three-point shooters that scare the hell out of you. But to watch Tennessee go in there and bully Mississippi State the way they did, and I know Tennessee started hot shooting, but Mississippi State took the lead with 5 minutes to go in that game, and about as close to a must-win as you're going to get this point at this point in the season. And it's going to be tough because their schedule's not easy.
Yeah.
They've got very few opportunities and probably going to have to make a run in the SEC tournament, which to me, looking at Ben Howland, the two coaches in Mississippi right now, Ben Howland and Kermit Davis, are not doing a very good job. They're not. I'm sorry. I know it's not easy to win at Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and Mississippi State has more talent, but Ben Howland, you got to start figuring it out. You can't just be like, well, Russell Westbrook was really good that one year. So I was very surprised at that. I was not surprised that Rutgers beat Ohio State. I was not. I was very surprised that Mississippi State struggled. Alabama shot really well. You knew they were going to shoot better coming off that 3 for 30 performance.
Yeah.
But watching Ole Miss, the way they play in the first half, or at least for most of the first half, compared to the rest of the game, it's like going to the movie theater and you're watching a movie and like the first 10, 15 minutes of it is just gasoline. Then the rest of it sucks.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, we've all seen that movie. So it's really sad for me to see because I was big on Kermit Davis. And I know Deshaun Ruffin got hurt, but you got more than one player. Yeah. And you've been there a decent amount. We always talk about Kermit Davis and changing defenses and all this stuff. That was a big disappointment to me. So looking around college basketball, it's very interesting. You know, you got some decent matchups tonight. Purdue, Michigan tonight.
In Ann Arbor.
In a game Michigan has to have.
In Ann Arbor.
Yeah, this is huge for Michigan.
It's huge for Michigan. Do you guys believe when you look around college basketball and we look at the Big Ten, is there a team that you would rather not play more right now than Purdue? Is it Kentucky?
That would be the closest. It would be Purdue, especially after what they did to Illinois, because I think Illinois is a phenomenal basketball team. You know, and you go look at those game stats, and they're so close, and Illinois still lost by 20. I mean, the only thing that scares me about Purdue is defense.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Is defense. You know, and you go back to their losses. I mean, they really went putting the ball in the basket at a high clip as they usually do. Mm-hmm. So you know, defense always travels. Then it'd be Kentucky for me. Then Auburn would be close. But Kentucky right now, they're only getting better, right? They're only getting better. And that's a scary thing about Kentucky.
Teams I don't want to play right now are Purdue, Kentucky, and Arizona. I don't want to play those three teams right now.
I tell you this, though, Cone. Arizona's got a sneaky one tonight at Washington State.
Okay.
Yeah. Washington State's been playing better. I think they're 14-7 right now. Robinson, I believe, just dropped a 21-burger the last time. Arizona coming off 2 emotional games. UCLA at Arizona State. I love the completeness of Arizona. I love the balance of Arizona. They're a 7-point favorite at Washington State and Wazoo tonight.
Yeah.
Watch out. That one, to quote a very famous football broadcaster, may be closer.
There's one more sneaky team that I wouldn't want to see in the tournament.
Let me guess.
In the tournament or right now?
Right now and in the tournament.
Let me guess. Give me 1 second. No clue.
All right. Want to guess?
Duke?
I do not want to see Murray State in the tournament.
Tevin Brown.
I do not want to see Murray State in the tournament.
And
that's a good
they're top
basketball
25.
team.
It's not like they're getting in with a
22
15 seed.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 22-2 right now, and Tevin Brown's for real.
Okay.
Tevin Brown is, but they got more than Tevin Brown.
Yeah.
They've got a lot more pieces. And I know they don't play in a great conference. You know, Gonzaga doesn't either. But Murray State, they are scary. This is the best team the Racers have had. I mean, they're rolling through conference play, which they should with that quality of a roster.
I agree with you that this early February is not a time for teams to panic. You know, there's still time to build that momentum that's necessary to lead up into March Madness. But also, it's not just the losses. You have to look at the way a team's lost, right? So let's look at Houston last night, okay? If you looked at it on paper and just saw the final score and said, well, Houston lost a close game on the road to a pretty good SMU team, you wouldn't be freaking out, right? But they had a 15-point lead. They dominated most of the game.
They did. We watched the whole
Giving up leads like that is not great, okay? But let's keep an eye on Houston, see if it becomes recurring, like what you were saying. Oklahoma outscored Texas Tech 45-25 in the second half. They had a 5-point lead at halftime.
And I've came on here and said that I think Texas Tech is the best team in the Big 12, and I'll still say it. I'm not going to panic over a loss. It felt to me, and this surprised me with Texas Tech, because their identity is effort on defense. And I know Oklahoma had a really good half shooting, second half. No, they were able to get to the line. But it seemed to me like Tech got up a little bit. I think they're up 30-25 at half.
I think so.
They were doing their thing in the first half. And then kind of relaxed a little bit. And that surprised me because, Tech, that really doesn't seem like it's in their DNA. Now, is this one of those losses that you go back and you say, well, this is one that reinforced everything that Coach Adams and them were saying? It's not time to panic. Texas Tech's going to be fine. They're another team that I don't want to see down the road. Huge for Oklahoma, though, who had been on a skid. They were still projected to get in the tournament. This is a big win. I know it's at home. We talk about quad 1, quad 2, all this stuff. But that's a high-quality win versus a high-quality team that if it gets iffy late and you're on that bubble and, you're lifehousing it, you're hanging by a moment, that could be the one that pushes you over the edge.
That's what makes March Madness so great, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any team can win any game at any point, right? That's what makes basketball just phenomenal to watch. There's not that one team that's so dominant this year. They're gonna run through everybody.
This year, yeah.
And it's one and done.
It's one and done.
As Omaha is for college baseball, as cool as that is, basketball, it's one and done.
And to quote, y'all know we talked about yesterday on the show.
Give me a quote.
Y'all know we talked about yesterday with Auburn Bruce Pearl. You know what he came out and said today? What did he tell us guys? I want my shooters to shoot. I want my scorers to score.
What else?
I want my passers to pass. And I want my guys to play to their strengths. You know what that's code for? Some of y'all need to stop shooting the damn ball so much. That's a little Morse code.
Stop. The ball.
Stop. Devin Cambridge, stop shooting. Stop. Please. Alan Flanagan, pass it.
Is that
Stop.
your Morse code pass?
Yeah. Jalen Williams, please, for all of us, stop shooting so much. Pass. Don't get punked on rebounds that matter. Stop. Send it. So there's great matchups this weekend. We're going to talk about them tomorrow. To preview it, including game day coming back to the SEC. We're going to have that thing covered with some good games tonight. We mentioned Arizona, mentioned Purdue, and mentioned Michigan. But we have a new segment, Cone. New segment.
Thursday Trivia.
Let's play a game.
Super Bowl edition.
Yes.
You boys ready?
Man, I'm so ready.
All right, here we go. Which franchise has played in 4 Super Bowls but has never led in any one of those games?
Has never led.
Never led. They played in 4 Super Bowls. Never led.
Blaine's going to answer first.
What?
Grab my laptop real quick.
4 Super Bowls.
Throw me a franchise here.
Played in 4 Super Bowls and never led.
I'll give you a hint. They had a head coaching vacancy this year.
Ooh,
there was some rumblings about who might take the job.
All right, Blaine.
Okay,
I can answer.
Miami Dolphins.
I'm going to say...
Can I say another one?
No,
you can't say another one.
They're the only team to ever have a perfect season, though, so they've left.
I'm changing mine. Houston Texans.
Okay.
How many guesses does Blaine get?
That's my final answer.
There are no rules. It's brand new.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's
you can't triple seven double stamp.
It's like NIL and transfer portal. He's really taking.
Hey, what's the clock on him? Can we get an answer?
Let me get. Man, look, man, this ain't Jeopardy, dog. Let me get man. The Dolphins. I like the Dolphins. I'll take the Dolphins answer.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Oh,
the Minnesota Vikings.
I would have never guessed that.
In the 70s, 4 Super Bowls, never led. Okay?
That's tough. Yeah.
Here we go. More abstract here. How many cameras were used to televise the very first Super Bowl? Give me a guess here. Give me a guess, and then we're going to Prices Right this thing.
All right. How many cameras total?
1967. How many cameras to televise? For
8.
CBS, 8?
8?
What do you say?
No way they had 8 cameras. I'd say 4.
11.
That's
yes.
11? Did they all work?
Had one that worked and 10 backups.
That I can't answer. You could win on a technicality, but
yeah,
research.
It's a bylaw.
Bonus
it's a
question.
bylaw.
How many does NBC plan to use this year to televise? Price is Right.
All right, but now first last time you go.
So if they used 11 in 1960, 115.
116.
120.
I'm going to drag you.
This is Speaker of the House.
Right.
Can I get extra minute?
Said I didn't want salmon.
Oh, okay. Here. One more bonus one for back in 1967. How much was a ticket to the first Super Bowl? How much did a ticket cost?
A goat.
Okay.
2 goats.
$12.
That's 2 goats.
No, 3 goats.
Your own situation. I don't know what the currency exchange rate is right now between 2 goats and $12.
I don't know. Well, we have to see.
What year did the Rams last win the Super Bowl? Let me give you a hint.
No, I don't. I'm going to get this.
Yeah, don't give me a hint. Give me a hint.
The last year the Rams won the Super Bowl. That's easy. It's really easy. It's right on the tip of my tongue. 1976.
1977.
1999, greatest show.
Oh my God!
No, is it Kurt Warner?
What about
Kurt Warner.
Oh, it was the Titans that fell short.
Greatest
by like
show
a
on
yard.
turf.
Oh, I got it mixed up in my mind.
All right, let's go to
That's
the
bad.
Bengals now. The Bengals have lost 2 Super Bowls to the same franchise. Which franchise was that? They lost 2 Super Bowls, 81 and 88. Who'd they lose both of them to?
Your serve.
They lost
Stop looking at your computer.
2 Super Bowls.
I love how
You want me to type stuff with my
one
mind?
more time.
They lost 2 Super Bowls to
Did it again.
the San Francisco 49ers.
Man, that feels right. They lost 2 Super Bowls to. I just did it and just made fun of Lane for doing it. The Miami Dolphins. No, not the Dolphins. I'm wrong. That was 72. Tripping. Undefeated season. They lost 2 Super Bowls to the Rams.
The 49ers.
Let's
Joe
go!
Montana.
Right.
Come on!
I couldn't guess
Joe
that.
Oh, your
Montana.
boy's in here.
Joe Montana, Jerry
Your
Rice.
boy is
the
in
gang.
here. Let's go. On the dot.
Keep your eyes off his computer.
Which colleges have produced the most Super Bowl winning quarterbacks?
Oh.
There's a tie at the top between 2 colleges, boys. Hit me with it.
Notre Dame and Michigan.
That's probably right. Can I get the question again, please?
This is
Plain Plain, who wants to be a millionaire?
this isn't a quiz show, okay?
Yeah.
Which colleges have produced the most Super Bowl winning quarterbacks? All right, there are
Right.
2 tied at the top.
Winning
Like
quarterback.
the spelling bee.
Guys, shoot over. Can you see it? Can I get, is that a verb?
Can you get the origin of?
Yeah, can I get the origin of the word, please? I'm going to go USC. That's a terrible
These are
answer.
good guesses.
Man.
These are good guesses.
USC.
It's not a bad one, dog.
We'll go USC Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. And I'm going to go Michigan.
Michigan's only had 1, Tommy Brady.
He
He
won
won
a lot
like
of them,
8.
though. He won a lot of them, though.
Notre Dame tied, okay, for the most played in, but the winningest, the ones who won, Alabama and Purdue each had 3.
Breed.
Bart Starr, Ken Stabler, Joe Namath for Alabama, and Richard Todd got close. Shout out Richard Todd. Okay.
RT.
Brian Greasy for the Dolphins, Drew Brees, and Lynn Dawson for Purdue.
Man, I would have never gotten Purdue. I really thought Notre Dame.
I can't.
Last one, fellas. William the Refrigerator Perry had the largest Super Bowl ring size of any player. What was the size of that ring? Price
What's the
is
size
right.
of your ring?
11, right here.
Okay.
That's
11.
16 and a half.
Cool.
16
God,
and a
give me 17.
25.
Let's go! I think I won that.
The
Horseshoe.
Refrigerator Perry Super Bowl ring size was 25.
Blaine, who did Refrigerator Perry play for? Duh.
That's not part of the. It's not a question.
The Bears.
The Bears.
It's a bonus question.
Yeah, it's a
Bears.
bonus
That's all I got,
question.
fellas.
My mind.
Around the world.
That's fine. I enjoyed that.
I like the
I enjoyed
Thursday
that.
trivia.
I feel like I won that.
I'm involved in that too eventually and start giving away just
Definitely.
I won that.
prizes and
Yeah.
goodies.
Definitely.
I feel like I
We're
won.
going around the world?
You call it.
All right, I want to start
Go.
because I'm about as jacked and tan about this as I've ever been about anything in my life. The Major League Baseball, I'm just going to look straight through the camera. Listen, Major League Baseball is about to approve a universal designated hitter for both the National League and the American League. It's already in the American League. And I know they can't agree about anything, but it seems like they're going to agree about this. And I have 2 words to say. Thank you. Thank you. It's about time. There is nothing dumber in my mind, outside of the way Auburn's Board of Trustees handles hirings and firings, than having different rules in the same sport for different divisions. Imagine if the overtime rules were different in the AFC as opposed to the NFC. Or there was an extra 2 minutes added in the game or something. In baseball, in the American League, the pitchers didn't have to hit. In the National League, the pitchers had to hit. But this is good for the game.
I agree.
It protects the pitchers more because there's been a lot of injuries of pitchers having to hit. Not that some of them can't hit. Guys like, Max Fried, Tim Hudson, I can go down the list of pitchers that can hit. But now you add another hitter to the lineup in the National League, which makes it even more fun. But also, the pitchers can't complain that, you're adding another hit. It's going to make it harder for me because now they don't have to hit. And a lot of them, most of them, surprise, surprise, don't want to have to hit. They want to be able to pitch, go back to the dugout. How many times have you seen a pitcher hit a ground ball and just, lollygag to first base? See it all the time. But now, you don't. You pitch, you go back in the dugout. I literally think it helps the pitcher's health, and it helps the health of the game. I think it makes it better. What do you think?
No one wants to see an automatic out.
Nobody wants to see an automatic out.
That's the thing.
And if you're a free agent right now, like, I don't know, if you're like Kyle Schwarber or just Anthony Rizzo, you're just like, yes.
Yeah, another spot.
I don't want to go out there. I just want to
seat at the table.
I just want to hit.
Remember, in football, guys used to have to play both sides of the football, right?
Yep.
Imagine if when they changed that and allowed you to just play offense or defense, guys were like, that's it. The game's ruined.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
over.
It's over.
Now Johnny Unitas is only going to play quarterback.
I put this out on social media at the Jboy Show, and I literally have people like, hate it. I hate it. Why? Why? Why do you hate it? I don't understand the reason. And you know what? If a pitcher's good enough to hit, like the alien out there playing for the Angels, then he can still hit. Put him in the lineup. He can still hit. Space Jam 3. There you go.
Yeah, it's an alien, for sure.
I'm going to Kyler Murray here. Scrubbed his Instagram for the Arizona Cardinals. There's precedent here. I think Tyrann Mathieu did that too when he left. Maybe Patrick Peterson, not sure. We don't know. Could be a rebrand.
It's so 2022. He's like, look,
I've scrubbed my
Kyler Murray unfollowed the Cardinals. He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Exactly.
Also, some sad news with Jeremy Giambi.
It's
Great
horrible.
baseball player. Passed away at 47. 6 great seasons. Okay. And
For that A's team that was
on the A's team.
unbelievable. I mean,
And
about Moneyball.
thing about Thursday trivia, he was the guy thrown out at the plate by Jeter's flip in the ALDS.
One of the greatest
2001.
iconic plays that's ever happened.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P., man. R.I.P. I got a couple things here. All right. Villanova. We're going to a little women's college basketball.
No,
Villanova beat the University of Connecticut UConn women 72-69 yesterday, ending the 145 regular season conference winning streak that dates back to 2013.
That's ridiculous. Gina.
They haven't lost a
Gina
game,
Auriemma?
regular season game since 2013. And if you added up the tournament games too, it'd be 169 games. And that, boys, is a record in women's basketball.
I don't think that'll ever be.
I don't think that's like Tom Brady. That will never.
I don't like Cal Ripken Jr.'s game.
Hey, in other news too, if you want this, the Nets and the 76ers traded Ben Simmons.
Is that official?
It's official. Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, 2 first-round draft picks, 2022 and 2027, for James Harden.
Here we go.
So we'll see.
And here.
Someone called that. Now we got to listen to him take a victory lap on
No,
that.
well, okay. I said it would happen
here
if they
we
got
go.
more than just Ben
You know what?
Simmons,
You
right?
played receiver.
It wasn't straight up.
Yeah, I said it would happen if they got more than Ben Simmons. They got Seth Curry and they got 2 first-round picks.
I don't know. Well, you played receiver. You've been a great DB the way you could backpedal.
Well, the great thing about it is, like, I can play both of them, so that's why I'm so good.
Okay. Well, you'd be great in the Pro Bowl.
No,
So
they invited me, but I don't take it seriously.
you're
Play
playing
both sides of the ball like
Yeah.
we were just talking about.
Listen, we talked yesterday before we wrapped this bad boy and put it in the tree.
Yeah.
We talked yesterday about the Peter Pan theory that you had.
Yeah.
Got really good response on that.
Well, you know,
you're
it
right.
fits. It's the truth.
There's another one that you were talking about.
Oh.
That involves the X-Men.
Yeah. So you know
Explain
this
to me, because I can't talk my way out of this one either.
Yeah, so I sit at home sometimes, and just the way my giant brain works. You know,
these theories, they're all yours.
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
filtering through things. You know, things just pop in my head.
Your
But you know,
giant brain.
Professor X can move things with his mind. Okay, that's what he can do.
Yeah.
So why can't he move his legs?
Dude, that's a good
Why
one.
can't he move? You can move anything with your mind, but you telling me you can't get up and walk?
Wait, why can't he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Tone.
It's a metaphor.
I spent
for
an
his
hour and a
inability.
half by myself trying to figure out. I went back through all the X-Men movies, trying to figure out how that wouldn't work. You can move things with your mind, but you cannot get your mind. Look, I'll stand up right now. I'm using my mind to tell I'm not a physiologist, but I know I'm using my mind to tell my legs to stand up. I'll go play hacky sack outside.
Yeah.
But Professor X, who can move stuff with his mind, can't tell his legs to get it. He ought to be to dance like a Chippendale, man.
He doesn't have a leg to stand on.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't make. It just doesn't make. See what you did there. That was that was really nice.
I don't know if anybody in the comments can explain that to me. To go through some fan theory about why he can't, or if maybe just lazy. Maybe just lazy.
Maybe that's it.
Anybody think about that?
There's a lot of accusations right now. Peter Pan's a bad guy.
Liam Neeson's a bad parent. It's his ego.
Yeah.
Right. And Professor X can move things with his mind, but he can't move his legs.
Laziness. Be better. Go out there.
People are winning the water cooler. People are winning the water cooler on the show. They're going back to their desk and they're like, look, man, I got so much info. I'm going to go back again and win it again.
That's exactly right. That's good stuff. Keep that coming. I like that. What, the Thursday trivia? That was a great segment.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys joining us. Got a great show for you tomorrow. We're going to talk Super Bowl, matchups, get a little schematical, pull the blueprints out, find where the holes in the walls are, and talk a little college basketball and a lot more. Hope you guys are having a good time getting into the weekend. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And like Blaine Chance's in trivia, from now on Thursday, we're going. You lost. We're going.